The tomatoes hit the pavement first. Heirloom varieties Rosa had cultivated for 3 seasons, splitting open like small hearts. Then came the basil, the carefully arranged peppers, the handwritten price cards fluttering away like wounded birds. Marcus Lynn didn't even slow down, his $1,000 shoes crunching through Rosa's morning work as he barked orders into his phone about hostile takeovers and board votes. When Rosa asked for $200, just enough to cover what 18 months of patience had grown, he finally looked at her. Really looked. At the soil under her fingernails, at the weathered hands that knew how to coax life from dirt, at the quiet dignity in her face. "Get a real job," he said, flicking his business card at her feet like it was trash. "Try being useful instead of playing in dirt." What Marcus didn't know, Rosa Vega had already been useful. Extraordinarily useful. She'd been the original COO of Lynn Technologies, Olivia Lynn's best friend and business partner, the woman who'd helped build his empire before stepping away, before Olivia died, before everything Marcus loved turned to automation and algorithms because feeling was too dangerous. What Marcus didn't know, Rosa owned 52% of everything he thought was his. By the next morning, his world would crack open like those tomatoes. His silent, traumatized children would speak their first words in 18 months, and the woman he'd dismissed as worthless would teach him the most expensive lesson of his life, that real wealth can't be coded or controlled, only cultivated with patience, presence, and hands willing to get dirty. Stay with us to witness how one man's cruelty became the catalyst for healing he didn't know his family desperately needed, and how the woman he mocked would save them all, including him. Monday morning light filtered through smart glass that had been programmed never to let in too much sun. Marcus Lynn stood in his home office, watching security footage of his children's playroom on a wall-mounted screen. The image was crystal clear, 8-year-old Tricia rocking methodically in the corner, her lips moving in silent counts. James building block towers only to knock them down with increasing violence. Their 23rd nanny, Caroline, consulting the protocol binder Marcus had created, a 40-page document detailing behavioral interventions, reward schedules, and emotional distance maintenance. The system wasn't working. Marcus knew systems. He'd built Lynn Technologies from a grad school concept into a $50 billion AI empire by understanding that everything could be optimized, predicted, controlled. But his children remained variables that refused to resolve. 18 months since the accident, 18 months of silence. On screen, James threw a wooden block. It hit Caroline's arm with enough force to leave a mark. She stepped back, following protocol. Ignore the behavior, remove yourself from the situation. Document the incident. But then James lunged forward and bit down on her forearm, hard enough that Marcus could see her mouth open in a scream the audio didn't capture. His phone buzzed. His assistant's name appeared. Board meeting in 45 minutes. Donovan hostile takeover vote. All hands required. Marcus closed the security feed. In the reflection of the dark screen, he saw a man who looked 10 years older than 38. He hadn't looked directly at his children in months, only through cameras, through nanny reports, through the comfortable distance of data. Downstairs, Caroline was already gone. She'd left her employee badge on the granite Kitlin Island next to the protocol binder, now marked with her blood. The automated coffee maker sensed Marcus's presence and began grinding beans. The refrigerator's screen displayed the children's nutritional intake for the week, color-coded by food group. The thermostat adjusted to his preferred temperature. Everything worked perfectly except the things that mattered. Through the Kitlin window, he could see the penthouse terrace, 3,000 square feet of unused space with a view of San Francisco Bay. Olivia had wanted to put a garden there. She'd drawn plans, talked about teaching the twins to grow tomatoes. Then her heart had stopped at a red light with both children in the back seat, and Marcus had automated everything he could reach. His phone buzzed again. The board meeting. Donovan Industries had been accumulating shares quietly for months, and today's vote would determine whether Marcus's company remained his. He should care. He'd built this. But standing in his sterile Kitlin, listening to the efficient hum of machines managing his life, Marcus felt nothing but the absence of his wife and the presence of 2 children who'd stopped speaking the day she died. Behind him, the playroom door opened, small feet on marble. Marcus didn't turn around. He couldn't remember the last time he'd looked James or Tricia in the eye without a screen between them. The footsteps stopped. Silence stretched. Then Trishia's voice, not speaking, but humming. A sound so unexpected that Marcus's hand froze halfway to his coffee cup. It was barely audible, tuneless, but it was something other than silence. When he finally turned, the hallway was empty. His phone buzzed a third time. Marcus grabbed his jacket and headed for the door, leaving his coffee untouched, leaving his children somewhere in the automated house that ran itself. The elevator descended 40 floors. His driver waited at the curb. The hostile takeover required his immediate attention. He never looked back. Marcus barely registered the farmer's market as his car idled in Monday afternoon traffic. His phone pressed against his ear, his legal team talking over each other about proxy votes and shareholder agreements. The Donovan meeting had been a disaster. They were stronger than expected, better prepared. Marcus needed to find leverage, needed to identify vulnerabilities in their structure, needed to think. "Pull over," he told his driver. "I'll walk the last 3 blocks. Need air." The market sprawled across 2 closed streets, vendors hawking organic produce under white tents. Marcus pushed through the crowd, still listening to his lawyers debate defensive strategies. Someone bumped his shoulder. He sidestepped without looking. Need the Sherman Street Partnership to commit their shares before Friday, or... He collided hard with something that gave way with a crash. Tomatoes exploded across pavement, wooden crates splintered, a carefully arranged display of heirloom vegetables scattered like shrapnel. "Watch where you're going," someone said, but Marcus was already stepping over the destruction. His attention locked on the voice in his ear, explaining why the Sherman Group was wavering. A woman knelt in the wreckage, methodically collecting what could be salvaged, dirt under her fingernails, gray-streaked dark hair pulled back, weathered hands that moved with unhurried precision despite the mess. "Sir?" Her voice cut through his phone call. "You destroyed 3 hours of setup." Marcus lowered the phone slightly. "Send a bill to my office." He pulled out a business card, dropped it onto the pavement beside her. 200 should cover it. She picked up the card, studied his face with unsettling intensity. 200? She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "These tomatoes took me 3 seasons to cultivate, but sure, 200. Then get a real job instead of playing in dirt." Marcus turned away, phone returning to his ear. "Try being useful for once. My company hires people who create actual value." He was 5 steps away when her voice stopped him. "Your wife would be ashamed." Marcus froze, every muscle locked. He turned slowly, searching for how this stranger could possibly know Olivia. But his legal team was shouting about the Sherman Group, and his phone buzzed with board member texts, and he was standing in a farmer's market losing time he didn't have. "Who are you?" he demanded. The woman remained kneeling in the ruins of her produce, meeting his stare with calm that felt like judgment. "Rosa Vega, and you're Marcus Lynn, the billionaire who doesn't have time to watch where he's walking." His phone buzzed 3 times in rapid succession. Urgent. The Sherman Group was making their decision. Marcus glanced at the screen, then at the woman still surrounded by destroyed tomatoes, then made the calculation he'd been making for 18 months. Business over everything else. He walked away. That evening, Rosa sat in her modest apartment above a community garden, surrounded by photographs she hadn't looked at in years. Herself and Olivia Lynn at college graduation, arms around each other, faces bright with possibility. The 2 of them at Lynn Technologies' founding, back when it was 3 people in a garage with a dream. Olivia's wedding, where Rosa had been. Rosa had maid of honor. The twins' birth, Rosa holding James while Olivia held Tricia, both babies squinting at the hospital lights. And the legal documents kept in a safety deposit box for 18 months until today. The trust agreement Olivia had established the month before her death, the letter written in her friend's handwriting, the shares Marcus didn't know existed. Rosa traced Olivia's signature on the letter. "If Marcus ever builds walls instead of windows, you'll know what to do. The children will need someone who remembers that broken things aren't trash, they're soil for new growth." On her small table, Marcus's business card gleamed under lamplight. Rosa picked it up, feeling the expensive cardstock, reading the Lynn Technologies logo. Olivia had seen this coming, had known her husband would automate his grief rather than feel it, had prepared for the moment when Marcus's control systems would fail his children completely. Rosa opened her laptop and began researching the Lynn household, 23 nannies in 18 months, 2 children who hadn't spoken since witnessing their mother's death, a father who watched his family through security cameras rather than facing them directly. Tomorrow, she would take Marcus up on his offer. Not because she needed the job, but because she'd made a promise to her dying friend. And Olivia Lynn's children needed someone who understood that healing couldn't be automated. Marcus stood in his living room, exhausted and calculating. Patricia Lynn sat on the cream leather sofa like a queen holding court, her posture impeccable even at 8 in the evening. Beside her, Dr. Elizabeth Morrison adjusted rimless glasses and consulted a tablet filled with diagnostic criteria. As I was explaining, Dr. Morrison continued, the children exhibit classic symptoms of complex trauma with maladaptive coping mechanisms. I recommend a 90-day intensive protocol involving... The doorbell interrupted her clinical recitation. Marcus checked his watch. 9:15, no deliveries scheduled. The household staff had already left for the evening. Are you expecting someone? Patricia's voice carried the particular edge she reserved for disapproval. He wasn't, but he was grateful for any interruption that postponed this conversation about medicating his children into compliance. Marcus crossed to the door, aware of his mother's scrutiny tracking his movement. Rosa Vega stood in the hallway, transformed from the farmer's market vendor he'd dismissed that afternoon. She wore clean jeans and a simple blue blouse, her gray-streaked hair pulled back neatly. But her hands, those hands still showed faint soil stains in the creases of her palms. She held up his business card. I'm here for the job you offered. Marcus blinked. What job? Taking care of things others think are worthless. That's what I do. Her voice was soft but absolutely clear, each word carrying weight he didn't understand. Your children need someone who understands dirt, things that grow slowly, roots that go deep. This is absurd. Patricia appeared at Marcus's shoulder, her presence like cold air. Marcus, send this woman away. We're in the middle of important discussions about the children's welfare. Rosa's gaze moved to Patricia, then back to Marcus. She said nothing, just waited with the kind of patience that made his mother's impatience look frantic by comparison. I don't need... Marcus began. A small sound stopped him. Footsteps on marble, tentative and light. James stood at the end of the hallway in his pajamas, staring. Not at Marcus or Patricia or the psychologist still visible on the sofa. At Rosa's hands. The moment stretched. Marcus's breath caught. His son hadn't voluntarily approached a stranger since Olivia died, hadn't shown interest in anyone beyond Tricia, just stood in doorways and destroyed things and communicated nothing except rage. But James walked forward now, his bare feet making whisper sounds against the floor. He stopped directly in front of Rosa, his 8-year-old frame small and fragile, and reached out. Rosa lowered her hands, palms up, offering, not taking. James touched the soil stains, traced the lines with one finger. His face held an expression Marcus couldn't parse, concentration and curiosity and something else, something that looked almost like recognition. Tricia appeared behind her brother, equally silent, equally transfixed. Utterly inappropriate, Patricia hissed. Marcus, this woman is clearly unqualified. She doesn't even have 1-week trial. The words came out before Marcus's analytical mind could calculate the risk. Prove this wasn't a fluke. Rosa met his eyes. I'll need complete autonomy. No protocols, no interference, no cameras in their rooms. Unacceptable, Patricia said. But Marcus watched his children standing voluntarily beside this stranger who smelled like earth and carried dirt under her fingernails despite obvious attempts to clean them. James hadn't bitten anyone. Tricia hadn't screamed. They simply stood there, present in a way they hadn't been for 18 months. 1 week, Marcus repeated. Then we evaluate. Rosa nodded once, a small bow of acknowledgement that somehow didn't feel like submission. That night, while Dr. Morrison departed in offended silence and Patricia left making threats about lawyers, Marcus showed Rosa to the guest room. She stood in the doorway surrounded by smart home technology, automated blinds, voice-controlled lighting, temperature sensors, all the systems designed to create perfect comfort without human touch. Thank you, she said quietly, for the chance. After she closed the door, Marcus stood in the hallway listening to the soft sound of whispered prayer in Spanish, words meant for someone else entirely. Olivia, he thought. She's talking to Olivia. Tuesday morning arrived with Rosa opening every window on the 40th floor. The household staff watched in confusion as Sanitated. Francisco air, cool and carrying faint traffic sounds, flooded the climate-controlled penthouse. The smart home system beeped protest, trying to close the windows automatically. Rosa found the manual override Marcus didn't know existed and disabled it. "Ma'am," the chef ventured, "Mr. Lin has specific protocols for the children's environment." Rosa smiled at him with warmth that wasn't quite friendliness. "Mr. Lin hired me to do things differently." She disconnected the AI assistant that announced each scheduled activity in a pleasant female voice. She turned off the automated meal program. She asked the chef, his name was Robert, if she could use the Kit Lin herself. His relief was palpable. By 9, when Tricia shuffled into the dining room for her algorithmically optimized breakfast, she found chaos instead. Dirt on the marble counter, seeds scattered across the Kit Lin island, mason jars filled with soil, Rosa humming something wordless while she prepared what looked like ordinary scrambled eggs, nothing optimized or analyzed or perfectly portioned. Tricia froze in the doorway. Her routine had been destroyed. The AI assistant didn't announce her next activity. The temperature felt different. Everything was wrong. The panic started as a small sound in her throat. Rosa glanced up, saw the child's face beginning to crumble, and did something none of the 23 previous nannies had done. She sat down on the floor, right there on the Kit Lin tiles, cross-legged, eye level with an 8-year-old. "Good morning, Tricia," she said softly. "I know everything feels different." Tricia's sound grew louder, a whimper building toward a scream. Rosa began humming again. That same melody from the night before, something minor, key, and gentle that Marcus's security system recorded but he wouldn't recognize, something Olivia used to sing. The whimper stuttered. Tricia's eyes widened. Rosa offered her hands, palms up, covered in potting soil from the jars. "Want to help me plant something?" The scream that had been building changed direction. Tricia opened her mouth and shrieked, not words, just pure sound. 18 months of silence breaking like a dam. Rosa sat through it, didn't flinch, didn't speak, didn't try to fix or calm or intervene, just remained present while the child emptied her lungs of grief. James appeared in the doorway, watching. Robert retreated to the far corner, phone in hand, probably ready to call Marcus. 40 minutes. That's how long Tricia screamed, until her voice grew hoarse and her body exhausted and the rage finally burned down to embers. Rosa still sat on the floor, hands still open. Tricia, trembling and depleted, looked at those soil-stained palms, reached out tentatively, touched the dirt. "It's from my garden," Rosa said quietly. "Want to know a secret? Dirt holds everything that's broken and makes it whole again." Tricia plunged both hands into the potting soil Rosa offered. They spent the afternoon planting. Tomato seeds in small pots. The three of them, Rosa and Tricia and James, sitting on the terrace that hadn't been used since Olivia died. No words, no protocols, just hands in earth, pressing seeds into soil, watering with careful attention. When Marcus returned early Wednesday evening, he found his sterile penthouse transformed. Plants lined the windowsills, dirt marked the marble floors. His children slept peacefully in their beds, soil still under their fingernails, smelling like earth instead of the hypoallergenic laundry detergent he'd specified. The AI assistant was offline. The automated systems had been manually overridden. Every protocol he'd designed had been dismantled. And his children, his silent, violent, unreachable children, looked for the first time in 18 months like they might be dreaming something other than nightmares. Marcus stood at his office window Thursday morning, watching fog roll across San Francisco Bay. His phone buzzed with congratulatory messages. The Donovan takeover had been crushed spectacularly. Lin Technologies remained his. Victory should have tasted sweeter. Instead, he kept seeing his children's faces, James building elaborate stone patterns on the terrace, Tricia measuring plant growth with mathematical precision, her lips moving in silent counts that now seemed purposeful rather than compulsive. Both of them orbiting Rosa like planets around a sun, finding gravity he'd failed to provide. "Sir." His head of security, Mitchell, stood in the doorway holding a tablet. "The background check you requested." Marcus hadn't wanted to investigate Rosa. Doing so felt like admitting she mattered, that this woman who'd appeared from nowhere with dirt under her fingernails had somehow become essential to his household in 72 hours. But protocol existed for reasons. "What did you find?" Mitchell's expression was carefully neutral. Rosa Vega Solis, age 52, former COO of Lin Technologies, original three-person founding team with you and your wife, sold her shares back supposedly 15 years ago for $10 million. Marcus's hand froze halfway to his coffee cup. Rosa Vega. That Rosa? Memory fragments emerged from the grief fog. Olivia's college roommate, the woman who'd helped them build the initial business model, who'd left when Marcus began centralizing control. He'd forgotten her completely, automated her out of his life like everything else that hurt. There's more. Mitchell's voice dropped. Recent corporate filings show a trust structure established by Olivia Lin 18 months ago, 1 month before her death. Rosa Vega Solis owns 52% of Lin Technologies through that trust. The shares have been held by Whitmore Legal with instructions that she never exercise voting rights unless absolutely necessary. The bay disappeared. The office tilted. Marcus grabbed his desk edge. She owns my company? Technically, yes. Without her proxy vote at yesterday's meeting, Donovan would have won. Our legal team just discovered the filing this morning. The trust was deliberately obscured. Multiple shell companies, offshore accounts, professional-grade concealment. Marcus's mind raced through implications. Yesterday's board meeting, Rosa sitting beside him, quiet and composed, his vice president asking her to identify herself for the minutes. Rosa Vega Solis, voting the Vega Trust shares in support of current management. He'd been too focused on the vote count to process the name, too relieved by victory to question the miracle. She'd saved him. Could have taken everything. Chose instead to live modestly above a community garden, growing tomatoes while sitting on $1 billion stake. Why? The question came out raw. Mitchell pulled up another document. The trust includes a sealed letter from Olivia Lin. I had our lawyers petition for access. It's personal. Marcus read his wife's handwriting, each word a knife. If you're reading this, Marcus has built walls instead of windows. Rosa knows what to do. She'll wait until he needs her most, then show him what I couldn't. That broken things aren't trash. They're soil for new growth. Don't let him know about the shares unless absolutely necessary. His pride will make him stupid. But if Donovan or someone worse threatens everything we built, Rosa has the power to protect it. Trust her. I did. I do. I always will. The letter blurred. Marcus's throat closed. That evening, after the children slept with soil still under their fingernails and dreams on their faces, Marcus confronted Rosa in the terrace garden. City lights glittered below. The newly planted tomatoes seemed impossibly fragile in their pots. You own my company. Not a question. Rosa met his eyes with that unsettling calm. Olivia made me promise 2 things. Never let you know unless absolutely necessary, and never let you raise the children in an emotional prison. I kept the first promise for 18 months. You're forcing me to break it. Tomorrow there's another board meeting. I know, Donovan's making a second attempt. Rosa touched a tomato plant with careful fingers. Without my proxy vote, you lose everything. Marcus's jaw clenched. So this was manipulation, getting close to my children to leverage. I don't want your company, Marcus. Her voice carried absolute certainty. I never did, but tomorrow you'll need my help. So yes, technically I own what you built. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Friday morning, Marcus arrived at Lin Technologies headquarters with Rosa beside him, and the executive team's reaction was immediate. Whispers cascaded through the glass-walled conference room. His CFO's eyebrows climbed toward her hairline. The general counsel looked like he'd swallowed something sharp. Patricia Lin, invited as board observer, stood abruptly. Marcus, what is that woman doing here? Saving your son's company. Rosa's voice held no challenge, just fact. She took the empty seat beside Marcus at the head of the table with the ease of someone who'd sat there before, which she had. 20 years ago, when Lin Technologies was 3 people in a garage with impossible dreams, the meeting proceeded with brutal efficiency. Donovan Industries had restructured their offer, found additional shareholders, positioned for a killing blow. Marcus's team presented defense strategies, white knight investors, poison pills, scorched earth tactics. Everything felt inadequate. Then Rosa spoke for the first time. I'm voting the Vega Trust shares, 52%, in support of current management. Silence. Marcus's vice president physically recoiled. The general counsel's mouth opened soundlessly. Motion to accept Donovan's offer fails, Rosa continued calmly. Motion to explore alternative corporate structures passes. This meeting is adjourned. Within an hour, tech blogs exploded. Lin Technologies saved by mystery majority shareholder. Billionaire rescued by woman he publicly mocked. Market vendor owns tech empire. Marcus endured the humiliation stoically. By noon, board members sent private messages expressing concern about unknown influences and unconventional decision-making. His mother called 12 times. He answered none of them. That evening, Rosa made empanadas in Marcus's Kit Lin, Olivia's recipe, which Marcus thought had died with her. The familiar smell triggered memories sharp enough to draw blood. Olivia laughing at his terrible knife skills, flour on her nose, music playing while the twins helped measure ingredients. James kneaded dough with focused intensity, making soft sounds, not words but vocalizations, something new. Tricia arranged filling with mathematical precision, her lips moving in counts that seemed more meditation than anxiety. Rosa gestured to the apron hanging unused on its hook. If you're going to be here, be useful. Marcus's hands, which could code in 12 programming languages and design system architectures, fumbled with basic cooking. He stood beside his son, their hands working in parallel, feeling utterly lost but strangely present. The Kit Lin was chaos, flour everywhere, the pristine marble counters destroyed, nothing optimized or controlled. For the first time since Olivia's death, Marcus cooked in his own Kit Lin. His hands remembered shapes his mind had forgotten. James glanced up occasionally, checking if his father was still there, as if expecting him to disappear. They ate dinner together on the terrace, sitting on the ground among the planted seeds. No table, no proper plates, just paper towels and empanadas still too hot to handle comfortably. Marcus burned his tongue and didn't care. Rosa watched him with eyes that saw too much. Olivia used to say you needed permission to be imperfect, said you came from people who only showed love through achievement. Marcus's throat tightened. My parents were immigrants. Achievement was survival. I know, Olivia understood that, but she worried you'd teach the children that being broken meant being worthless. Rosa gestured to the tomato plants growing in their pots. Everything broken is just material for something new. That's not fixing. It's transformation. James placed a small stone beside Marcus's hand. Not aggressive, not random. Deliberate communication in a language Marcus was just beginning to understand. He's asking if you'll stay, Rosa translated quietly. For dinner tomorrow. He's asking if you'll be here. Marcus looked at his son, truly looked, without screens or distance or comfortable data between them. James met his eyes with naked hope that was simultaneously beautiful and devastating. Yes, Marcus said, and the word felt like stepping off a cliff. I'll stay. Saturday morning arrived with Rosa carrying actual dirt into the penthouse, bags of it, rich and dark, smelling like possibility. Marcus watched from his office doorway as she transformed the unused terrace into something he didn't recognize, alive. We're creating raised beds, Rosa explained when James and Tricia appeared, drawn by the unfamiliar scent. Root time, no devices, no schedules, just us and what grows. Patricia Lynn arrived an hour later, her heels clicking disapproval across the marble. She found her grandchildren covered in soil, their clean clothes destroyed, their hands filthy. This is unconscionable. Patricia's voice could freeze water. Marcus, I'm calling child services. Unsanitary conditions, regression therapy masquerading as care. Mother. Marcus stepped onto the terrace, surprising himself. Give us the weekend. Patricia's mouth thinned, but she left. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Marcus returned to his office but found himself watching through the glass, not security footage, actual presence, close enough to see details cameras missed. James arranged stones before planting each seed, not randomly, deliberately, creating patterns Marcus's pattern recognition mind suddenly understood. Order emerging from chaos, the same way he designed system architectures. His son was coding in minerals. Tricia watered with mathematical precision, counting drops under her breath. 1, 2, 3. But Rosa had given her measuring cups, turning anxiety into science. Tricia wasn't compulsively counting to manage fear. She was calculating optimal hydration ratios. Your daughter, Rosa said without looking up, somehow knowing Marcus stood there, sees the world in equations. That's not pathology, that's gift. Marcus's throat tightened. When had he stopped seeing his children's minds as anything but problems to debug? Sunday morning, he found James had created an entire language. Smooth stones meant peace. Rough stones meant anger. Stones arranged in circles meant family. Stones scattered meant fear. James had built a lexicon of grief that everyone else had called violence. Rosa sat on the terrace floor, reading the arrangements like text, responding to each with her own stone placements. They were having conversations in geology. Tricia showed Marcus her graph paper that evening, a complete garden layout with plant spacing calculated for optimal growth, light exposure mapped, water distribution planned. She'd created a blueprint more sophisticated than most landscape architects could manage. 47, Tricia whispered when Marcus knelt beside her, her first directed words to him in 18 months. Steps to the garden. I count them. Helps me know where I am. Marcus felt something crack open in his chest. What else do you count? Everything. Tricia met his eyes. Days since Mama. Heartbeats, tiles, numbers tell me I'm still here. That night, Marcus stayed awake researching. Horticultural therapy, nonverbal communication, how trauma rewires developing brains, selective mutism as protective mechanism rather than disorder, mathematics as emotional language. Dawn found him still reading, coffee cold beside him, genuine curiosity burning through exhaustion. Not corporate obsession, something different, something that felt like the person he'd been before achievement became identity. When he emerged Monday morning, Rosa was making breakfast. She glanced at his screen, saw the research articles, and smiled. Your children, she said quietly, are translating their trauma into languages they can speak. James externalizes through stones. Tricia quantifies through numbers. They're not broken, Marcus. They're brilliant. I've been trying to fix them. His voice came out raw. Yes. When I should have been learning their languages. Rosa placed a hand on his shoulder. Now you're understanding what Olivia knew. Healing isn't returning to factory settings. It's growing something entirely new from the wreckage. Monday morning, James and Tricia's school called an emergency meeting. Marcus sat across from Principal Hargrove, Dr. Raymond, the school psychologist, and 3 grim-faced teachers. The children have been bringing soil to class, Principal Hargrove began, trying to plant seeds in the playground, creating disruptions. Marcus started to respond, but Rosa's hand on his arm stopped him. Dr. Raymond cleared his throat. The twins score in concerning ranges for obsessive behaviors. Their fixation on gardening suggests avoidance of necessary therapeutic work. He pushed evaluation forms across the table. I recommend immediate intervention, structured therapy, possibly medication to reduce compulsive tendencies. Rosa spoke softly. They're not obsessing, they're communicating. You're just not listening in their language. Dr. Raymond's professional smile didn't reach his eyes. Ms. Vega, while I appreciate your naturalistic approach, these children need evidence-based treatment. Their silence is pathological. Their behaviors are maladaptive. Create a small garden space at school, Rosa suggested. Give them appropriate outlet. That would be enabling avoidance of real treatment. Dr. Raymond closed his file with finality. Marcus felt caught between Rosa's certainty and professional recommendations from people with credentials, degrees, authority. What if we try both? The garden and evaluation? Rosa's expression remained calm, but disappointment flickered in her eyes. That evening, Patricia arrived with her society friends, 6 wealthy mothers whose children attended elite schools, wore designer clothes, displayed perfect behavior. They whispered behind wine glasses about Marcus letting the help make decisions, and the children regressing into manual labor. Honestly, darling, one woman said to Patricia loudly enough for Tricia to hear from the hallway, it's tragic. That woman tricked her way into this house, and now she's destroying those poor children. The scream that followed shattered 3 wine glasses before they hit marble. Tricia stood in the doorway, eyes wide with panic, mouth open in primal sound, the word no emerging as pure fury. Her first verbal outburst in 18 months, and it was rage. Rosa moved before anyone else processed what happened. She knelt at Tricia's level, steady as stone. I hear you, Rosa said quietly. You're protecting. That's brave. But Tricia couldn't hear. The panic attack had taken over, her breathing rapid and shallow, her body shaking with hyperventilation. Patricia's friends retreated like startled birds. "See? Violent, disturbed, proof that woman's methods—" "Leave," Marcus's voice cut through the chaos. "All of you, now!" They scattered. Patricia lingered, her face tight with vindication. "I told you," she said. "Professional intervention, before it's too late." After everyone left, Rosa carried Tricia to the terrace. Midnight air cool against hot skin, soil under small hands. Rosa began telling stories about the day Tricia was born, details Marcus had forgotten or never knew. How Olivia counted Tricia's fingers and toes, how she sang mathematical equations as lullabies, how she loved her daughter's analytical mind. Marcus stood in the doorway, listening to stories about his wife from someone who'd known her better than he had. Tricia's breathing slowly normalized. By Wednesday, she began leaving Rosa sticky notes with measurements. Plant growth, 2.3 centimeters. Steps to garden, 47. Tiles in bathroom, 284. Each note Rosa answered with another number and a heart. Thursday morning, something unprecedented happened. James built an elaborate stone arrangement at breakfast, the most complex Marcus had seen. Rosa studied it, then gasped softly. "You're asking about Mama?" James nodded, his first clear acknowledgement of understanding a question. Then, barely audible, a whisper. "Where?" One word. The first either twin had spoken since the accident. Marcus dropped his coffee cup. It shattered, spraying ceramic across tile, but no one moved. Rosa kept her focus entirely on James. "She's in the garden now. In the soil. In what grows. Want to see?" James took her hand. Together, they walked to the terrace where Olivia's favorite rose cutting had begun blooming. Tuesday night, Rosa handled Tricia's panic attack without calling doctors or administering medication, methods Marcus's previous nannies always employed. Instead, she carried the trembling child to the terrace garden at midnight, sat her in the dirt, and guided her hands into the soil. "Feel the earth," Rosa whispered. "It holds everything broken and makes it whole again." She began telling Tricia about the day she was born. Stories Olivia had shared, details Marcus never knew or had forgotten. How Olivia sang to Tricia in the hospital, mathematical equations as lullabies. How she knew immediately that Tricia counted everything, loved that analytical mind, celebrated it rather than fearing it. Marcus stood in the doorway, invisible in shadow, hearing stories about his wife from someone who'd known her better. His chest ached with the weight of forgotten moments. "Your mama understood numbers too," Rosa continued softly. "She said counting was how you made sense of chaos. She was so proud of your mind." Tricia's breathing slowly normalized. Her hands moved through soil with mathematical precision, measuring, testing, quantifying texture through touch. Wednesday morning, Tricia left her first sticky note on Rosa's door. Plant growth, 2.3 centimeters. That afternoon, another. Steps to garden, 47. By evening, her bathroom mirror was covered in measurements. Tiles, 284. Heartbeats per minute, 72. Days since Mama, 562. Rosa responded to each note with another number and a hand-drawn heart. Thursday morning brought the impossible. James built an elaborate stone arrangement at breakfast, the most complex Marcus had seen. Concentric circles with radiating lines, smooth stones alternating with rough ones, creating a pattern that looked almost like a sun. Rosa studied it for a long moment, then gasped softly. "You're asking about Mama?" James nodded, his first clear acknowledgement of understanding a question. Then, barely audible, a whisper that stopped time. "Where?" One word. The first either twin had spoken since the accident. Marcus dropped his coffee cup. It shattered across tile, spraying ceramic shrapnel, but no one moved. The moment was too fragile, too precious to break with reaction. Rosa kept her focus entirely on James, her composure absolute. "She's in the garden now, in the soil, in what grows. Want to see?" James took her hand. Together, they walked to the terrace where Olivia's favorite rose cutting had begun blooming, pale pink petals opening toward morning light. Rosa had planted it secretly weeks ago, nurturing it in preparation for this moment. James touched the petals with careful fingers, traced the stem, pressed his palm against the soil around the roots. "She's here," Rosa said quietly. "Different, but here. Growing into something new." James knelt in the dirt, and for the first time since, "Olivia's death!" he cried. Not screaming, not rage, just tears, quiet and healing, while Rosa sat beside him and waited. Tricia appeared in the doorway, then crossed to her brother and knelt on his other side. She reached for his hand, squeezed once, and whispered her own first intentional words. "I count, so I remember, so she stays." Marcus watched his children grieve together, communicating in their own languages, stones and numbers and tears, finally processing what they'd witnessed 18 months ago. Not fixed, not returned to factory settings, but healing in their own way. That evening, after the children slept, Marcus found Rosa on the terrace, touching Olivia's rose with gentle reverence. "Thank you," he said, and the words felt impossibly inadequate. Rosa met his eyes. "They're not broken, Marcus. They never were. Just speaking languages no one bothered to learn." "Teach me," he said. "Please, teach me everything." Dr. Raymond contacted Child Protective Services Friday morning. His report detailed concerning unconventional methods, unqualified caregiver implementing unproven therapeutic approaches, and children exhibiting continued non-normative behaviors in unsanitary conditions. By afternoon, social worker Ms. Delgado arrived for a surprise inspection. She documented everything with practiced efficiency. Dirt throughout the penthouse, plants on every surface, the children's soil-stained clothes, the terrace garden that violated multiple building codes. She interviewed James and Tricia separately. James used his stones to communicate but wouldn't speak. To conventional evaluation, this appeared regressive, a child unable to use words, relying on primitive symbolic systems. Tricia wrote numbers but wouldn't explain them. When Ms. Delgado asked about her counting, Tricia went silent, protecting something precious from scrutiny she knew would judge it wrong. "Tell me about Rosa," Ms. Delgado asked gently. Tricia wrote one number. 1. "One what, honey?" Tricia's response came in a whisper. "One person who understands." Ms. Delgado's report was professional but damning. Children unable to communicate normally, living in chaotic, unstructured environment, under care of someone with no childcare credentials who admitted to using intuitive methods rather than evidence-based approaches, possible unhealthy attachment patterns forming with non-parental caregiver. Marcus received the preliminary findings Friday evening. The children would be evaluated at a residential facility for 1 week starting Monday. Rosa would have no contact during this period. Marcus must restore appropriate structure and professional standards to the home environment, meaning removing the gardens, reinstating automated systems, hiring credentialed caregivers. "This is precautionary," Ms. Delgado explained, her exhaustion evident. "I've seen cases where unconventional approaches mask deeper problems. 1 week of professional evaluation will determine the best path forward." Marcus's lawyers provided documentation of Rosa's legitimate guardianship arrangement, something Olivia had established in her will that Marcus had forgotten. But Ms. Delgado's report still concluded, concerning attachment patterns with non-parental caregiver, suggests children may be dependent on Rosa Vega Solis in ways that could complicate healthy development. That evening, Marcus told Rosa about the order. She received the news with characteristic calm, but her hands trembled slightly as she touched the tomato plants she and the children had grown together. "They're taking them for evaluation," Marcus said. 1 week. You can't have contact. And the gardens? Have to go. Professional standards. Appropriate structure." The words tasted like ash. Rosa nodded slowly. "And after?" Marcus didn't answer. He didn't know. Saturday morning, professional cleaning crews arrived to dismantle everything Rosa had built. The children's reaction was immediate and catastrophic. James built frantic stone patterns, screaming silently when workers removed them. Tricia counted compulsively, tiles, steps, heartbeats, her anxiety spiking until she vomited. By evening, both had barricaded themselves in their playroom, refusing food or comfort. Rosa sat outside their door all night, humming Olivia's songs, keeping vigil in the only way the system allowed. Sunday morning revealed the children's desperate communication. They'd destroyed their playroom, not in rage but in deliberate expression. James had created a massive arrangement using every toy, every object, spelling out in stone language, "Don't go." Tricia had written numbers on every surface in marker: days since Mama died, 562, days since Rosa came, 12, and one number repeated hundreds of times, one person who understands. Marcus stood in the destroyed room, finally seeing what his children had been saying all along. Marcus stood in his penthouse Saturday morning, afraid of losing his children to a system that measured healing in metrics he'd once trusted. He began complying with every demand, hiring professional crews to erase Rosa's work. The cleaning team arrived at dawn, efficient and thorough. They dismantled the raised garden beds, hauled away bags of soil, removed every plant from the windowsills. They scrubbed the terrace until no trace of growth remained, restored the automated systems to their original efficiency, sterilized the marble floors to their previous sterile gleam. Rosa watched from the guest room doorway, her hands trembling slightly as workers carried out everything she and the children had built together. Her face remained composed, but Marcus saw something break behind her eyes. Not anger, but grief. The children's reaction was immediate and catastrophic. James built frantic stone patterns across the living room floor, arranging and rearranging them with increasing desperation. When a worker accidentally kicked through one arrangement, James released a silent scream, mouth open, no sound emerging, his body shaking with the force of unexpressed anguish. Tricia counted compulsively, her lips moving in rapid calculations. Steps between rooms, tiles on every surface, heartbeats. Her anxiety spiked with each passing hour until she vomited, then continued counting through her tears. By Saturday evening, both children had barricaded themselves in their playroom, refusing all food, all comfort, all contact, except with Rosa. She sat outside their door all night, humming Olivia's songs through the sealed barrier, maintaining vigil in the only way the system allowed. Sunday morning, Marcus found the playroom door finally open. What he saw inside stopped his breath. The children had destroyed everything, but not in rage, in communication. James had used every toy, every object, every piece of furniture to create a massive arrangement. Blocks and stones and books and clothes, all positioned with deliberate precision to form a pattern Marcus finally understood, the stone language equivalent of "don't go." Tricia had written numbers everywhere. On walls in marker, on furniture in crayon, on the floor in paint, dates, timestamps, measurements covering every visible surface. Days since Mama died, 562, days since Rosa came, 12, and one number repeated hundreds of times, scrawled desperately across everything. 1, the number of people who understands. Marcus stood in the destroyed room, finally comprehending what his children had been saying all along. They'd found languages for their grief, and he was about to forcibly take those languages away in the name of normalcy. Rosa appeared behind him, surveying the damage without judgment. "They're telling you what they need," she said quietly. "The question is whether you're brave enough to listen." Sunday evening, Marcus made a decision that could cost him everything. He picked up his phone and called Ms. Delgado. "I'm not bringing them tomorrow," he said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "I need 48 hours. As their guardian, that's my right." Ms. Delgado's warning was immediate. "Mr. Lin, this will significantly complicate your case. The judge won't look favorably on noncompliance." "I understand." And he did. For the first time since Olivia's death, Marcus understood that some things mattered more than favorable outcomes. He turned to Rosa. "Show me everything. Teach me the stone language. Explain Tricia's numbers. Help me understand what I've been too blind to see." Rosa studied his face, searching for sincerity. Whatever she found there satisfied her. "Follow me," she said. Monday morning, Marcus didn't deliver his children to the evaluation facility. Instead, he sat on the terrace floor beside Rosa, learning to read stones like text. "Smooth stones mean peace," Rosa explained, arranging examples. "Rough ones mean anger, circles mean family, scattered patterns mean fear." She built a simple arrangement. Smooth stones in a column. Tight circle. "This says safe together." Marcus studied the pattern, then tried building his own. His first attempt was clumsy, analytical rather than emotional. Rosa gently rearranged 2 stones. "You're thinking like a programmer," she said. "Feel it instead." By mid-morning, Marcus could read basic messages. By afternoon, he understood that James had been communicating complex emotional narratives for months, and everyone had dismissed them as destruction. "What about Tricia's numbers?" Marcus asked. Rosa pulled out the sticky notes Tricia had left throughout the house. "She's quantifying the unquantifiable, measuring grief, calculating connection, creating mathematical proofs of existence." She showed him one note: 47 steps to garden equals safe distance from automation. Another: 284 tiles in bathroom equals number of days Mama was sick before dying. Tricia counted her mother's illness without understanding what she was measuring, Rosa explained. Now numbers are how she anchors herself in reality. That evening, Rosa took Marcus to Olivia's safety deposit box using keys she'd held for 18 months. Inside, Marcus found journals, years of them, but especially the final year. Olivia's handwriting covered page after page, documenting her knowledge of her heart condition, her decision to prepare rather than fight, her instructions for Rosa. Marcus read, tears streaming, as his wife's words revealed truths he'd been too busy to see. Marcus will try to code his way through grief. He'll create protocols and systems because feeling is too dangerous. But the children can't be debugged. They need someone who understands that broken isn't the opposite of whole. It's just a different form of it. Another entry, dated 1 week before her death. "I've made Rosa majority shareholder, not to control Marcus, but to protect him from himself. When the walls get too high, she'll know what to do. She understands that healing looks like chaos before it looks like peace." The final letter, sealed separately, was addressed to Marcus. "You're reading this because you've automated everything, including your heart. I love your brilliant mind. But Marcus, you're broken too. Stop running the algorithm. Let Rosa show you that transformation isn't failure. The children need a father who can sit in the dirt with them, who can feel instead of fix. And Marcus, I forgive you for the fight, for all the missed dinners, for choosing work over us. I forgave you before you even apologized. Now you need to forgive yourself, get your hands dirty, and grow something new from the wreckage." Marcus read until dawn, understanding finally what Olivia had seen, that healing wasn't restoration, but transformation. That broken pieces could become soil for entirely new growth. That love sometimes meant preparing others for your absence, rather than pretending you were irreplaceable. When morning light touched the terrace, Marcus found Rosa waiting with coffee. "She knew," he said, voice raw. "She knew exactly what would happen." "Yes." Rosa's eyes held compassion without pity. "The question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge?" Marcus looked at his hands, soft from keyboard work, unmarked by real labor. Then he looked at the destroyed garden, at the children sleeping fitfully inside, at the choice crystallizing before him. "I'm going to get my hands dirty," he said. Tuesday morning brought an emergency family court hearing. Ms. Delgado presented her case with bureaucratic efficiency, children unable to communicate normally, living in chaotic conditions, dependent on an unqualified caregiver. Patricia Lynn's lawyers argued for temporary custody transfer, promising proper professional care. Dr. Raymond testified about concerning behavioral fixations. Marcus's corporate lawyers responded with credentials and character witnesses, but the judge's skepticism was evident. Credibility meant little when children appeared to be suffering. Then Rosa's lawyer made an unprecedented request. "Your Honor, allow the children to testify in their own language, with Rosa Vega Solis translating." The judge studied Rosa with sharp attention. "Explain." "These children have developed sophisticated communication systems in response to trauma," Rosa said quietly. "James uses stones. Tricia uses mathematics. Forcing them into conventional speech to be heard would be silencing them." Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. Dr. Raymond leaned forward to object, but the judge raised one hand. "I'll observe privately in chambers. Bring the children." James entered first, carrying a cloth bag of stones. He knelt on the judge's carpet without hesitation, began building. Smooth stones formed a tight circle, rough stones scattered outside it. Then, James added one smooth stone outside the circle, connected to the others by a careful line of smaller stones. Rosa knelt beside him, reading the pattern. Before Rosa, darkness, chaos, fear. She touched the tight circle. After Rosa, the same darkness, but someone sitting in it with us, not trying to turn on lights. Her finger traced the connecting line. She doesn't fix. She stays. The judge leaned forward, studying the arrangement with unexpected intensity. Tricia entered next, carrying graph paper covered in numbers. She placed it on the judge's desk, her voice barely audible but absolutely clear, the most words she'd spoken to a stranger since the accident. Happiness levels, she said, pointing to a column, quantified through sleep quality, appetite, voluntary interactions. Before Rosa, 23%. After Rosa, 71%. Her finger moved to another column. Dad's presence hours. Before Rosa, 4.2 weekly average. After Rosa, 13.7 weekly average. That's 214% increase. She laid out more papers. Panic attacks per week. Before Rosa, 4 to 5. After Rosa, 1 2. Another chart. Words spoken voluntarily. Before Rosa, 0. After Rosa, 47 this week. The judge removed her glasses, cleaning them slowly. You calculated all this? Numbers don't lie, Tricia whispered. They tell truth when words can't. What do you want, Tricia? Tricia met the judge's eyes directly. I want someone who counts with me instead of trying to make me stop counting. Someone who understands that my numbers mean something. I want Rosa to stay. James placed one more stone, his symbol for home, and pointed to Rosa. The judge was silent for a long moment, studying both children, then Rosa, then Marcus standing awkwardly in the corner. Mr. Lin, she said finally, your children are remarkably articulate, just not in the language the system expects. Marcus's throat tightened. Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Vega Solis. The judge's tone sharpened. You're asking me to validate unconventional methods that every credentialed professional in this courtroom has condemned. Rosa remained calm. I'm asking you to see what's working rather than what's conventional. The judge tapped her pen against the desk, calculating something Marcus couldn't parse. Then she stood. I'll have my ruling by end of day, everyone out. That evening, Marcus paced his penthouse while Rosa and the children prepared dinner. The waiting felt like drowning in slow motion. When his phone finally rang, Marcus answered with trembling hands. The judge's decision would change everything. The judge ruled in Marcus's favor with conditions, continued monitoring, but Rosa remained as primary caregiver with Marcus required to participate actively in the children's care and healing. Patricia's custody bid was denied. However, the judge added something unprecedented, mandatory family therapy for all four, Marcus, Rosa, James, and Tricia, as a family unit. You're creating something unconventional, the judge had said. Let's make sure it's sustainable. Wednesday morning, they met Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a family therapist specializing in non-traditional family structures and trauma. Her office felt nothing like Dr. Raymond's sterile evaluation room, plants everywhere, natural light, comfortable floor cushions alongside chairs. Dr. Tanaka immediately validated Rosa's approach, explaining attachment theory and how the children had formed secure attachments after severe disruption. But she challenged everyone equally. Marcus, she said during their second session, you're managing grief instead of addressing it. Tell me about your last conversation with Olivia. Marcus's hands clenched. It was a fight, about me missing another family dinner for work. And I never got to apologize. She died angry at me. Do you think she died angry? Marcus's voice broke. I think she died disappointed. The admission cracked something open. He wept. Not the controlled tears he'd allowed himself in private, but raw, ugly sobbing that echoed through the office. Tricia crossed to him, placing her small hand on his shoulder, counting his heartbeats aloud until they slowed. Dr. Tanaka turned to Rosa. You carry survivor's guilt. Tell me what you're afraid of. Rosa's composure finally wavered. That I'm not honoring Olivia. That I'm imposing my values on Marcus's family. That I can't replace what these children lost. You're not supposed to replace her, Dr. Tanaka said gently. You're supposed to be Rosa. Is that enough? Rosa's hands trembled. I don't know. The children seem to think it is. By Thursday, they began genuine reconstruction work. Marcus and Rosa created a new terrace garden together, not replacing what had been dismantled, but building something different. This garden included a memorial space for Olivia. Her photos, her recipes printed and laminated, her favorite plants. James helped design it with stones, creating pathways between sections. Tricia calculated perfect spacing, creating a mathematical representation of their family, 4 points, uneven but stable. They planted Olivia's favorite herbs. Marcus's hands shook as he pressed basil seeds into soil. "She would have loved this," Rosa said quietly. "She would have laughed at my terrible gardening skills," Marcus replied, but his voice held warmth instead of pain. That evening, Marcus found an old video on his phone. Olivia cooking with the twins before the accident, flour everywhere, everyone laughing. He'd avoided it for 18 months. Now he watched it twice, then called the children over. "Want to see Mama?" he asked. They watched together, Rosa sitting slightly apart, present but not intruding. When it ended, James built a stone arrangement, smooth stones in a circle with one smooth stone nearby, connected by a careful line. Safe together, different configuration, still family. Marcus placed his hand over his son's, understanding finally blooming. Healing wasn't returning to what was lost. It was growing something entirely new from the broken pieces, roots going deep in soil that once seemed worthless. 6 weeks after the hearing, the Lin-Vega household had found its rhythm, not the automated precision Marcus once demanded, but something messier and infinitely more Olive. Marcus worked from home 3 days weekly now, his office door open, the sound of children's laughter drifting through instead of silence. He'd learned James's stone language fluently, could read emotional states and mineral arrangements the way he once read code. Each morning, he gardened with Tricia before school, their hands working soil together while she explained her latest mathematical discoveries. The children spoke regularly now, not constantly, but meaningfully. James attended a school with a farm program where his spatial intelligence was recognized as gift rather than disorder. Tricia excelled in advanced mathematics with a teacher who understood her counting was both coping mechanism and genuine brilliance, two things that could coexist. Rosa had official legal standing as co-guardian, a unique arrangement Marcus's lawyers had crafted from scratch. She sat on Lin Technologies' board now, though she still spent mornings in the community garden she'd never left. The business world had adjusted to her presence the way ecosystems adjust to new growth, slowly with initial resistance, then inevitably. Patricia Lin visited monthly, her acceptance grudging but genuine. After James told her explicitly, "We need Rosa like we need Dad, different, but same." Something had shifted in her carefully controlled expression. She'd started bringing seeds instead of criticism. This Friday evening, they held a private ceremony on the terrace, Olivia's birthday. They'd planted an olive tree in a large container. Olives for peace, Rosa explained. And because olive trees grow stronger after damage, their roots reaching deep to find sustenance in unexpected places. Each person added something to the soil before planting. Marcus knelt first, his hands steadier than they'd been 6 weeks ago. He opened his palm, revealing Olivia's wedding ring, the one he'd worn on a chain around his neck since her death, unable to remove it, unable to let go. "I'm keeping you close," he said quietly to the woman who wasn't there but somehow was. Just differently now. He pressed the ring deep into the soil at the tree's base, letting it rest. Rosa added a photograph, herself and Olivia at college graduation, young and fierce and full of impossible dreams. "Thank you," she whispered, "for trusting me with everything that mattered." James placed a stone he'd carried since the accident, the one he'd held in the car while Olivia's heartbeat stopped, the one he'd kept hidden in his pocket for 18 months. Smooth and worn, it settled into the earth like it had been waiting. Tricia added a folded paper covered in numbers, 1,127 days Mama lived as their mother, and one new family formed. "So she's in the math too," Tricia explained. "Numbers remember everything." Together, they lifted the olive tree, its roots already establishing seeking purchase, and settled it into the prepared space. The soil embraced it, dark and rich and full of everything broken becoming whole. They watered it together, 4 sets of hands overlapping on the watering can, water flowing in mathematically perfect proportion because Tricia had calculated optimal hydration. As the sun set over San Francisco, painting the terrace garden in gold and shadow, Marcus realized this was what Olivia had meant. Not replacing what was lost, but growing something new from the wreckage. The tree would need years to mature, would require patience and care, would bear fruit they'd never tasted before. Just like this family, unconventional, unexpected, but with roots growing deep in soil that once seemed worthless. Marcus placed his hand over his children's, and Rosa's hand joined them. 4 points of connection, forming something that wasn't what they'd lost, but was somehow, impossibly, enough. The tree would grow, they would tend it together, and that was everything.